Death End Request, I found a love for Idea Factory's approach to mixing visual novel elements with JRPG systems. It created a nice dynamic that was made better by the game's likable cast members and gripping story. Now, instead of building on relationships of the first game, the developers take a chance on an entirely new main protagonist for the sequel, Death End Request 2. In many ways, this ends up working, but it takes a while to find its footing.
You trying to make a fool out of me too? First that woman, now everyone else!
Death End Request 2 tells a story of Mai Toyama, a standoffish girl who has been admitted to the Wordsworth Women's Dormitory in LaCroix. Her arrival has some alternative motives though, as she is actively searching for her lost sister. It's here that she is introduced to Roddy Dalhard and Liliana Panada, who serves as the other party members for this adventure. It's made clear early on that everything is not quite as it seemed at the orphanage, and the headmistress seems to be the orchestrator for the nightmarish events that plague the students. However, the plot takes an exceptionally long time to actually kick into gear, and it'll be about an hour before you'll encounter any actual gameplay. It's not the biggest issue, but it comes off as if the story doesn't really know how to keep up with the gameplay. An example of this could be found in the character's first glitch transformation during a battle, as they have no reaction to the event. This had a substantial reaction in the first game and even changed the appearance of the character during dialogue, but nothing is said about it here. It's as if the first half of the story is happening independently alongside the gameplay portions, and they aren't all on the same page. Thankfully, the relationship between the two does improve in the later chapters. As for the three new characters, I really enjoyed Roddy and Mai's relationship. I thought their interactions were well paced and gave us a real sense of their friendship. This is also found in the sub-characters within the dormitory, who each have their own lives and don't always cross paths with the narratives. Players are free to explore these scenarios or just progress the main story. However, understanding the relationships of each of them is important for some of the more substantial plot deliveries. When it comes to returning characters, the game sort of dances around how you're able to use them in battle. They use kind of a weird throwaway line too, and no one really reacts to it. Simply put, 1 minute, it's just 3 girls solving mysteries, and the next, you'll have this group of low-level party members in your team. The dungeons have been improved in Death End Request 2 as the developer tries their hand at a semi-open world. Everything is connected here and players can quickly travel between save points. However, given the size of the world, I think an overview map of the entire area would have made navigation easier. Each area has a different theme with a variety of monsters roaming around. The battle system of Death End Request 2 is exceptionally good with various ways to take advantage of weaknesses, buffs, and the returning knockback system. There's also an auto mode that is exceptionally well made, and I found that it made level grinding for bosses a lot easier. I ended up really enjoying the number of ways players can interact with the environment. Each character can do something different, but I wouldn't say that I liked Mai's ability until her hacking skills became more useful in later parts. Sadly, the load times between areas is rather long and could use some refining, since there were times where I thought my game froze during a load screen. Character customization is rather limited here, as most of the items can be found during battles or in chests. I think in my time playing the game, I used the shop at the camp a total of 3 times. It kind of defeats the purpose of earning money, but it's there for people who require healing items while playing on hard mode. Graphically, I love Death End Request 2. The characters have such a fantastic appeal about them, which makes it easy to love them. It's as if Sheena takes on the role of the player as she reacts to each of the characters' attitudes and adorable personalities. On the other hand, this game becomes quite dark and has a dialogue about some pretty heavy themes. You find yourself engrossed by this mystery as it becomes even more gripping leading up to the climax. Similar to the first game, Death End Request 2's English voice cast was well thought out, and I ended up playing the entire game with English audio. The choice of Japanese audio is there, but I didn't even use it. There's some really great music in the game too, which sets the tone for the adventure and some of the more impactful scenes. Death End Request 2 is an exceptionally well-made RPG that encompasses great systems and characters. It does its best to not rely too heavily on the first entry and instead creates new relationships for new and returning players. There's a bit of a slow start as it sets up the plot, but once the game gets going, it's full steam ahead for a dark and twisted set of events leading to the conclusion. Noisy Pixel is giving Death End Request 2 an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review on noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.